So there is a full look at the start list. And you can see Ines Fitzgerald on the inside. Lea Meyer, an interesting one to watch from Germany. And Sarah Healy, second fastest in Europe this year with that 8:30. Melissa Courtney-Bryant tops the rankings and 8:28. But Sarah Healy definitely will see herself as a medal hope. Liliana Vindic-Toth of Hungary goes on the outside. There is Sarah Healy, two-time European under-18 champion. She's been very open with her struggle with nerves in major championships. Verily Bakker of the Netherlands goes in lane 10. Ludovica Cavalli, 4:01 1500 metre runner inside of her. There's Lynn Soderholm of Sweden and Olympia Breza of Poland. Graka Baracci of Kosovo is a non-starter, which takes us to Maureen Costa, the silver medalist in 2015 over 1500 metres. Adela Preto of Spain goes in 4. Lisa Rooms of Belgium in 3. And Lea Meyer, very, very good steeplechaser, 9:09 at her best, Olympic finalist, Olympic silver medal, European silver medalist back in 2022. And there's Ines Fitzgerald, 4th place at the World Junior Championships over this distance last summer. She's the European junior record holder with a run in Ostrava at 8:40. Mentioned 9 minutes or so. That's sort of the marker of a decent time. It was much faster to qualify for this race, but I'd expect the race to go around about 9-minute pace, and then a big burn up over the last 1,200, maybe 1,000 metres. But Lea Meyer to the fore at the moment, coached by the US-based Mark Coogan, and her training group has been doing amazing things over the last few days. So Heather McLean running a US record over 1,500 metres en route to a 4:17 mile. So that form is very interesting when you look at other athletes in that group. These two, Ludovica Cavalli jogging at the front, and there goes the Hungarian. She's going to keep things moving there. Vindic-Toth. You just get the first. That was the first 200 metre split. It was very, very, very slow. I was thinking, is that 300? It was so pedestrian for these women, but they're just easing their way into the championships here in Apeldoorn. They would have had to sit around for a couple of days watching their teammates getting involved. And now they will have their chance to try and get in the top 6 here and qualify for tomorrow night's final.
It's fairly generous qualifying, isn't it, Hannah? Top 6. You know, if you can't make the top 6 in a heat, then you're not, I think it's fair to say, barring a fall or something, you're not going to be a factor come the final. And it makes it nice and clear and straightforward. Everybody knows what they've got to do. It's hard to believe, actually, that in years gone by, the second heat might have had that advantage. If they had said sort of top 5 and 3 non-automatic qualifiers, and that the second heat now just go out a little bit quicker.
And there was a short period where they said, right, if we can kind of control the later heats and put them in isolation, don't give them a TV screen to watch, don't let them know what time.
But they're going to get it shouted from the stands or whatever.
Or they hear it on the stadium announcer. It was laughable, really. You'd be in that first heat thinking it's going to be an absolute jog fest and know that the second one was going to be faster.
And I can remember having arguments with people who said, no, there should be non-automatic qualifiers. There should be fastest losers, as we used to call them. And I'm trying to think what the arguments pro that option were.
I think when you've got, particularly when you look at the shorter events, perhaps when athletes don't have season's best that reflect their durability, and then the seeding it puts a lot of pressure on the seeding. But I don't think that's an excuse to bring in time qualifiers. Just get the seeding right. And if an athlete hasn't got a season's best, then so be it. You know, that's what you're bringing to the championships. And I prefer this because I think you'd have a qualification system that didn't match what would yield the medals in a final. The final's tactical, the final could be very slow. You'd have someone in there that snuck in as a time qualifier being asked to run tactically perfectly, and that's not that wasn't how they got there. So I think it's more applicable to have sort of a tactical route into a tactical final.
Well, they are coming up towards 1,000 metres. Something around 3 minutes would not be quick, but I think this is going to be well outside that. They're heading down the home straight now, and this is where they come through. 1,306. Yeah, it's only a click inside. 9:20 pace. Very slow indeed. 3:06.36.
From Vindic-Toth It's a 9:05 runner, so I think this is sensible from the Hungarian here. She's not the quickest over the shorter distances, not like Ludovica Cavalli behind her, and Sarah Healy of Ireland as well. She's a sub-4 competitor over 400 metres. And Innes Fitzgerald, coached by Gavin Pavey, and his wife Jo Pavey picking up medals left, right and centre in kind of longer endurance events. They would have sent Innes Fitzgerald here with a bit of a plan. And Fitzgerald, she's a very gutsy competitor, and I'd expect her to go to the fore if this doesn't pick up. Leah Meyer now maybe slightly increasing the pace from that 3:06. Maureen Costa, the Dutch woman, is sitting back in 6th place, the final of the qualifying spots of the race finished right now. She's got so much experience. She was 6th in Istanbul and 4th in Rome, so it's been a while since she's picked up a European medal, but she's still very much a top 6, top 8 competitor in these European races.
Innes Fitzgerald there, great cross-country racer in 5th place, doing a good job at the moment. The very experienced Maureen Costa, who was 6th in Istanbul, looking comfortable at the moment. And her compatriot in this one, Viola Bacca, just chugging along behind. Only just got inside 9 minutes, which in this day and age is quite some way off world class, it has to be said. It used to be that 9 minutes was the benchmark of international class 3,000 metre running, but that's shifted forwards. What about 10 or 15 seconds with, I suppose?
Leah Meyer is actually doing a significant pace increase here. They were running 36s and she's dropped to 34. There's another 34. So 68. That's very, very different over the 400 than they were running for the first kilometre. So this second kilometre is going to be much, much quicker. And these athletes are capable of it, or they were capable of it until this point. You can just see it starting to fracture the group into two. And it's brave running from the Belgian athlete Lisa Rooms, who's made the cut onto the back of this group. And that is 6, just starting to edge away from the rest of the pack.
Did you see Lisa Meyer then looking up at the big screen on the infield? As they're going down the back straight, it's high up to their left, and I was worried about her running off the track. Normally they can glance upwards in front of them and the screens are at either end of the arena. Here it's right in the middle of the infield, but she had a very good long look at it to see what sort of damage she was doing behind. And these 6, maybe the qualifiers are away with Fitzgerald at the back.
Well, when you're trying to count to 6, when you're quite tired, you're running 34 seconds per 200 metres, it can be hard. So I think it would take a long look from Leah Meyer. But these 6 do look like they're away, as long as they keep the pace moving. Leah Meyer has put a real injection here. This will be the second kilometre. It was 3:06 through the first one. So much faster here for the second kilometre, 2:55. And I think that will have done enough work, if you like, to separate these 6 if they just keep it moving. And we might see them settle down, particularly over the last sort of 600 metres, and just leave it to this pace. Innes Fitzgerald having issues there with Lisa Rooms at the back. I think it's Innes Fitzgerald trying to overtake and almost running into the back of the Belgian athlete instead.
Well, it's hard, isn't it? Because these straights are so short. You've got a very limited amount of time in which to overtake anybody. So if you're going to overtake somebody, you need to swing out coming off the bend and make your move in the first 20 or 30 metres of the straight, because before you know it, you're into the next bend, and then you're going to have to run the extra metres round the outside. But this gap is becoming pretty decisive, isn't it, between the leading 6? I mean, he almost couldn't script it better than this. 6 go through, and there's 6 athletes away with a gap of about 30 metres behind them.
So Lynn Söderholm of Sweden is the athlete giving chase in the pace pack, but behind she's been helped by Idero Prieto of Spain. And those 2 athletes, they have run under 9 minutes this season. So for whatever reason, those 2 just not able to do it with a pace change. It's one thing to run a time when the race is very even and you're ticking off and you're ticking off. It's another to be able to change pace like this. And Leah Meyer running metronomic 34s at the front. It was a great run for Hannah Klein, who took the win in Istanbul. And Constanze Klosterhalfen has been there or thereabouts in the medals as well. So the Germans have got a strong tradition in this event. And I think as a steeplechaser, a 3,000 at a championship, that's just a wonderful way to test how your winter training's going.
Well, the 6 were away quite comfortably, Hannah, but it's Rooms, I think, at the back who's dropping back. And little Prieto, Idera Prieto of Spain, is isolated and got herself away from the other second pack and is chasing hard with 2 laps to go. Rooms there for Belgium is in danger of being caught and knocked out of the top 6. The front 5 are well away, as you can see.
And Leah Meyer checking that screen every time she gets a chance. The positioning of the screen, wonderful for the spectators, tricky for the athletes. I don't like the idea of looking to the side like that when you're running in a pack. Plato with 300 metres left to go. Lisa Rooms trying to rally. She's looking over her shoulder frantically every 50 metres or so. Rooms has got to keep moving here, the Belgian athlete. I thought perhaps she'd drop back because she thought the six were clear, but Rooms here at this point in real trouble. Plato hunting her down. That's the fight for the final sixth qualification spot for tomorrow's final. Going smoothly at the front though, Maureen Costa in the orange of the host nation, getting a big cheer. Sarah Healy responds fine. Ludovica Cavalli right there. I'm not sure why they're bothering to jostle. They're well in a qualifying position. Lane draw doesn't matter over 3,000 metres. But Lisa Rooms, I think she might just do this, the Belgian. She's looking behind. Leah Meyer comfortably in fourth place. Ines Fitzgerald in fifth. She'll go to final on her senior debut here on the international stage. And Lisa Rooms does hold on to the sixth spot. Plato had a go, but Rooms saw her coming and managed to find a little bit extra.
Well, that was tough for Rooms, wasn't it? Under pressure there, those last three laps, and she knew what was happening. She knew Prieto was chasing hard. The gap was just too big, though. Prieto at one point was about 35 metres behind Rooms at the back of the leading six and never quite got there, ran out of track. And Rooms actually, to her credit, rallied in that last lap and stayed about 20 metres clear of the Spaniard. I was glad to see the youngster from Great Britain, Ines Fitzgerald, easing right off there over the last lap. I mean, there really was no need to run hard, and with a final tomorrow, only 24 hours, just over 24 hours rest, the finals tomorrow evening, those front five would have been well to ease right back. Then indeed the first three or four almost did race that last couple of hundred metres.
I think it was 3:06, 2:55, 2:54. So for those women, so they did keep moving. I think the pace dropped a little bit at the start of that final kilometre, and then obviously the sprint finish at the end always gains you a few seconds. Plato gave it a brave go, but in the end Lisa Rooms quite comfortably in sixth place. But that's impressive from Leah Meyer, and we haven't seen her race that much indoors. Dropped a great 8:40 over in the States.
It's funny, isn't it, because Prieto doesn't qualify there in seventh place, 9:04, and that's fair enough. But she's an 8:51 athlete. She should have been able to go with that. And I think the thing is that the acceleration, Hannah, from the first kilometre to the second, a 3:06 to a 2:55, was pretty vicious, wasn't it? It's not the fact that the sort of average tempo when they got to 2K was only 6:01, therefore it's outside 3 minutes. It's the fact that second kilometre was 2:55, and that is sort of beyond Pieto's range, I think.
I think you're exactly right, Tim. That's how I'd interpret it. It's to change pace like that. It's really tricky, and I think once your body is settled in at the start there to sort of a 3:06, to ask yourself to increase by almost 10 seconds a kilometre, I think that's hard. And I think, unfortunately, for Plato, who is good over the longer distances as well, 15:35K athlete, and it just didn't suit her. There's a lot of Irish noise going on. They're on the middle of the back straight, and they're really giving it some welly over there. They were treated to a fourth place by Sarah Lavin yesterday, and they cheered that on. And the likes of Cian McPhillips has been advanced to the men's 800 metre semi-final after a bit of pushing and shoving. Mark English will be in the semi-finals later as well, and they would have loved to see Sarah Healy performing well there, living up to her second place ranking on the European lists by qualifying for the final.
There's the start list for the second heat. Hannah Nuttall goes in this one, winner of the UK Championships. It's again a strong field. Nuttall was fifth in Istanbul a couple of years back. Jodie McCann of Ireland goes in this, their 5,000 metres champion last year. She's already seen Sarah Healy, her teammate, win that first heat and go through okay. That's the French athlete Sarah Madeleine. 8:48 athlete this year, the 26-year-old. There is Courtney-Bryant, bronze medalist in Istanbul. Been around a long time, had a lot of injuries. The Britain, more of her in a minute. She's the top European this winter. We saw there Gulikas of the Netherlands, 9:18 athlete. I'm a little surprised she's here, actually, with that. That is so far off international class. Nicola Maiori of Italy is in there as well. Garcia, the Spaniard Marta Garcia, 10th in Istanbul. Bronze medalist last summer in Rome at the 5,000 metres. Agate Cohn is there. Lizakovska, Hannah Nuttall in fabulous form. Afonso of Portugal. Jodie McCann of Ireland, the 25-year-old, 8:55. Just a month or so ago in Ostrava. Federica Del Buono goes out there as well. 8:48 her best. That was last year. And the Spaniard Agueda Marquez on the inside as an 8:41 performer. Good athlete, Marquez, just 25 years old. 12 athletes out there. Courtney-Bryant, well, what a season she's had. 8:28 in Boston some 5 weeks ago. So, straightforward. First 6 go through. No mucking about. Courtney-Bryant has the speed to contend with almost any situation. She ran 3:59 last summer. She's very much a 3,000, 5,000 specialist these days, but she has great history at 1,500 metres. Took a bronze medal in the Commonwealth Games back in 2018 at 1,500 metres. As I said, under 4 minutes last summer. And when she's not injured, and she's had a lot of injury these last 3 or 4 years. She had a very bad ankle injury a couple of years back. Put her in a boot, and she was out for, about 18 months, something like that, Hannah. It was a really severe interruption to her career. No,
Melissa Courtney-Bryant, like you said it, Tim, when she's healthy, when she's able to put consistent training together, she's one of the world's best. And then 3,000 is almost her perfect distance. And that run in Boston, it was a 9-second personal best. That's just astounding. She wasn't at the national championships, though. There is an opportunity to get a buy or a nod from the head coach in Britain if you have an issue. And there was no sort of public acknowledgement of an issue for Melissa Courtney-Bryant's camp. But the fact that she wasn't there when you are meant to race the British champs does suggest there was some issue. So whether it was illness or injury, we're not quite sure. But Courtney-Bryant, she is here and she is racing. And I'd be interested to see how Lizakowska and Afonso have recovered from the 1,500 metres, particularly Afonso with all the emotions of the silver medal for the Portuguese athlete. Yeah, there's a physical, but there's also, I'm not sure Afonso would have been able to get much sleep last night.
So Del Buono leading then for the Italians. And through this first few laps of this second heat of the women's 3,000 metres, Courtney-Bryant, the European number 1, right on her shoulder, bringing up the rear. Madeleine of France, taking it nice and steady. It's not quick. I think this is going to be around 3 minutes, maybe a bit slower through this first kilometre. Maiori is up there as well. The Italian, actually it's about 5th from the back. And looking comfortable at the moment too is Lizakowska of Poland. The Poles have had a super championship so far, particularly in the middle distances. They've looked strong in the 800s and the 400s too. But just getting these early laps out of the way, really almost a sort of formality when it's this slow.
And Federica Del Buono has almost been forced into the longer distances by the likes of Ludovica Cavalli, Marta Zanoni and some of the other, and Cintino Visser. The way that they've been running in the 1,500 metres in Italy, Del Buono's almost had to go up to 5,000 and 10,000. But 1,500 metres was very much her route. So I think Del Buono will have a turn of pace, as will Melissa Courtney-Bryant, as will Lizakowska. So it's the likes, I'm looking at the likes of Marquez and Sohn and McCann. They've got to get this race moving. And Hannah Nuttall, she won in a sprint finish over Laura Muir at the National Championship. She's right in the middle of the pack here. But there's a lot of kickers, and I think we will see someone really pick up the pace as they come through this time. The first kilometre, this is going to be so slow.
Well, it's desperately so. Look at it. This is them coming through 1 kilometre now. 10 laps to go. 3:19. It's almost 10-minute tempo. 3:19.04. I thought the first one was slow with an opening kilometre of 3:06. Giving a good account of herself at the moment. Jodie McCann of Ireland on the inside in about 5th place, placed in Dublin. Primary school teacher. And her brother Luke, of course, is an Olympic 1,500 metre runner. It doesn't matter that she's boxed with 9 laps to go. You're very comfortable at this sort of tempo. So nobody really jostling or worrying about positions. If there were 3 or 4 laps to go, you'd see a lot more movement in that pack. You'd sense a sort of panic. But Del Buono taking on the burden of just jogging around these early laps, and they are almost jogging, Hannah. 3:19 for the first K.
That's a little bit quicker, that lap. Del Buono, she's just dropped down to 38 seconds, and I wonder if Del Buono is just going to try and increase the pace just lap by lap by lap. We saw that from Leah Meyer in the previous heat, but with 3:20 at the start, and I think the likes of Afonso and Lizakowska will be really pleased by this. They'll have that 1,500 metres, the heats and the final in their legs from the last couple of days. So I think every lap that goes slow for those two athletes that doubled in the 1,500, they're going to be pretty happy.
A 36-second lap there. It's picked up a little bit, but nobody particularly keen to take over from Del Buono. She's experienced enough to know what she's doing. She's presumably pretty happy out there. She's running the shortest line. She's staying out of trouble. That pack beginning to get a little bunched, and as the next couple of laps click by, so we'll see a little bit more panic and shuffling for movement in preparation for the final kilometre. But Courtney-Bryant and Liza Koska and Marquez of Spain all quite happy just to tuck along and follow in her slipstream here. Nuttall boxed on the inside. It doesn't matter. They've still got some 6.5 laps to go.
That was another 36 from Del Buono, and that's still only 9-minute pace. She's not really got going here. And they're going to have 6 laps to go when they come around this time, and someone has got. I think Del Buono has kind of gone right. If someone's going to make a move, let's get the group halfway there. Let's get myself halfway up to pace. But somebody's got to attack from that pack behind pretty soon.
Well, that's a 30
again.
Yeah, that's a 36-second lap, and they've still got a lap to go before they get to 2,000. We're almost on 6 minutes. I don't think there's been much acceleration in this second kilometre. The first kilometre 3:19. If they come through in around 6:35 or so, it'll still have been a desperately so slow second kilometre, and it does mean we'll see a lot of movement, Hannah. Once they've gone through 2K, I think we'll see a sort of ripple of panic go through the pack, and they'll start being a little bit more concerned with their positioning. But as they come down now, this will be 2 kilometres. Big move from one of the Spaniards down the outside. They go through in 6:23. So that kilometre was a 3:04. That is 15 seconds quicker than the first. And now, of course, there is an acceleration and a new leader. It's Marta Garcia at the front.
Well, Garcia, she is a national record holder, over 5,000 and 3,000 indoors for Spain. And she was seen her training partner, Reve Walcott-Nolan, pick up a bronze last night in the women's 1,500. I would have expected Garcia to go earlier than this, if I'm honest. She has done some 1,500s indoors. She's been working on her speed. But when she's got the likes of Courtney-Bryant, sub-4 runner, Liza Koska has gone sub-4, so's Afonso. And it's a 33 for Marta Garcia. So she is getting the field going here in the last kilometre. It's a long bid for home from the Spanish athlete. The group's still 9 behind her, and they need to whittle that down to 6.
So it will pick up, and this is a little bit more complex than the first heat, where 6 were away from the middle of the race onwards. Here we've got 9. And 3 are going to not make it, and I wonder which 3 it'll be. Hannah Nuttall towards the back of the group. I suspect she's got the ability to accelerate over these next 3 laps, because they are inside the last 3 laps now. Still Melissa Courtney-Bryant in second place, looking pretty comfortable. The pole, Lizakovska in third place there on the inside. Afonso in the green of Portugal, moving well there, back in 6th place at the moment. I'd like to see Nuttall move up towards the top half dozen as they come through this time with 2 laps to go. This would be the bell on an outdoor track, and still Garcia at the front, just beginning to wind it up. 34-second lap there, so no acceleration from that 33, the last lap.
Afonso of Portugal moving on the outside. Del Buono, the long-time leader, trying to get past Hannah Nuttall. I'd say for me, Garcia, Courtney-Bryant and Liza Koska, and perhaps Marquez doing okay there, those 4, but it's congested behind. There's going to be pushing and shoving. So when they come through this time, it's going to be the bell. So only 250 metres to go. Garcia, bronze medalist outdoors in Rome. She'd love to make this final and love to get herself another European medal.
The bell this time then. Garcia leading at the moment. Courtney-Bryant in second. Liza Koska in third. They've both been near the front throughout the whole race. Marquez of Spain in 4th place. Nuttall now back in 7th place. Still with some hard running to come as they go down the back straight. 100 metres to run. It's going to be very tight indeed. The little Portuguese Afonso running aggressively round the final bend. There's 7 there, and one of them's going to miss out. Who's it's going to be? Driving for the line now, and it looks like it might be Marquez who's going to miss out. Garcia takes it from Courtney-Bryant there. Liza Koska goes through okay. So does the Portuguese Afonso. And I think, barring pending confirmation, it was Marquez who got sprinted out of it there. Hannah Nuttall was always going to do enough. She's got such a quick finish. We saw that to very good effect when she beat Laura Muir at the UK Championships 2 weeks ago in Birmingham with a devastating final lap. Laura Muir, now coached by Steve Cram, choosing to dip out of the rest of her indoor season. It was a one-off foray into the realms of racing, and I understand Crammy didn't really want her to race in Birmingham, but she wanted to at least have one race under her belt this winter. But that's all it was. She will focus upon the summer. Courtney-Bryant, Garcia, Livercosco and Alfonso, along with Sarah Madeleine of France and Hannah Nuttall, getting that 6th precious qualifying spot. Agueda Marquez and Federica Del Buono, Michel Maiori, the Italians missing out there, Hannah, both of them.
I think, if my maths is right, 2:45 last kilometre there. And so they've really got going. I was nervous with Hannah Nuttall holding back in that final kilometre. She's coached by Helen Clitheroe, who's won this title back in 2011. So she will have had strict instructions. And I hope it was just a calm run from Nuttall. They were clicking off those 33-second laps. It was seriously fast in the last kilometre. And whether Nuttall just sensed that Marquez wasn't going to make it all the way to the line, on pace, I'm not sure. But for the other athletes there, particularly Garcia with her 5,000 metres sort of specialism, a 2:45 last K, that's moving.
It certainly is, yeah. 8:15 tempo for the final kilometre, 2:45, you're quite right. Courtney-Bryant then very comfortably qualifying there. 9:08 is not going to stretch most of those qualifying 6 too much at all. It's just right, really. The first heat, one outside 9 minutes as well. So it sets it up nicely for tomorrow.
I think that's a hard way to run that race. I think the previous
that final kilometre, yeah,
I think that previous heat is going to be easier. The likes of Sarah Healy, Maureen Costa, Ludovica Cavalli, I think they're going to say I preferred running a nice, steady, even
pace. They ran 2:54 for their last kilometre, you're right.
It's really different. Yeah, to finish in a 30-second there, to run 2:45, that's going to take something out of these women.
Well, they've got about 30 hours until their final. It's tomorrow night. The women's 3,000 metres final.
Well, we're just getting ready now for the next event on the track, the women's 3,000 metres. I wonder if it can deliver as many thrills as we've had from the last 2 men's finals on the track. The 3,000 metres won by Jakob Ingebrigtsen and the men's 800 metres that have just finished. So, we have 12 women in this field. On the outside, it's Marta Garcia, the very good Spaniard. Ines Fitzgerald, the European under-20 cross-country champion. Maureen Costa, big cheers. One of the fastest women in this field with a personal best of 8:33. Sarah Healy we saw there, 8:30 this year. Leah Meyer, possibly one of the outsiders, but we have the fastest woman in the 3,000 metres in Europe this year. Melissa Courtney-Bryant, 8:28. Sarah Madeleine, Hannah Nuttall, a British champion over 3,000 metres, one of 3 Britons in this field. Salome Afonso. Afonso took silver in the 1,500 metres. Lisa Rooms, the Belgian, and Ludwika Kalabali on the inside. Veronika Liszowska. So those are the 12 women who are going to be contesting the 3,000 metres. So they're away. This is looking a little bit quicker than the men's 3,000 metres, but they're all still bunched at this early stage. It's Afonso who's got herself to the front. Alongside me once again, Wendy Sly, Olympic medalist from 1984 and a very astute commentator on women's distance running. How do you see this race unfolding, Wendy?
Well, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, the women in the race would have watched the men's 3K and seen how that played out. Hannah Nuttall has gone to the front, which again is quite interesting given that she played a little bit more of a waiting game in her heat, but they're not exactly pushing the pace on here. It's pretty steady as they go through the first lap.
Yes, 37.80. Well, we've seen a lot more pedestrian long distance races in the championship, so this is at the moment a fairly honest run. Nuttall, you'd have to say this is a good tactic from her, keeping out of trouble.
Yes, as we've mentioned several times before, this is a tricky track to navigate. The straights are quite short. It's not that easy to overtake. And getting in the right position at the right time is critical at this event.
So just taking their time, coming around with 2 laps.
The bar at 189 in this women's high jump, and Nielsen of Sweden pops over without any trouble. Lovely clearance that. It's her 3rd consecutive first-time clearance, and it equals her personal best. She's having a super competition. A few more heights to go yet, I think, before the medals are sorted out. Just Batori eliminated at the previous height, 185, the Hungarian. Now Honsel of Germany amongst the favourites. She too at 189 goes clear. Oh, yeah, that's just nice. Matches the card of Nielsen. I can tell you that Mahuchik hasn't come in yet. She's planning to come in at 192 according to the computer system, but Honsel there, and the Germans, of course, with quite some tradition at the high jump, looking just fine. Bihala then, next to go for Estonia. Oh, eases over there. 2nd time of asking. But good to go on to 192, Bihala, having cleared the first 2 heights, the previous 2 heights, that first time of asking. At 3,000 metres, we'll get back to it as quickly as we can. The pace has certainly picked up, and the heights are going up as well in this high jump competition. Onen then, Imke Onen, 193 this winter. That from Onen, the 2nd time clearance at 189. They're popping over this quite comfortably. 192 onwards, the next height. Things begin to get more serious. But Onen here, 2nd in the German Indoor Championships, is 4 times a German champion, twice indoors and twice out.
So we're back with the 3,000 metres, and they've just gone through 1 kilometre in 3:09.19. Leah Mayer to the front, but tragedy there. It looks like Maureen Costa has gone down. We didn't quite see what happened with the incident. We'll try and give you more details, but she's been moved from the track, and the medics are dealing with the situation, as now that increase of pace has left Leah Mayer in front, followed by the Pole Veronika Liszowska, running well as well at the moment. The Italian Ludovica Cardi. Here's that incident with Costa. So it just seems to trip up over the French woman, Madeleine. She's on the inside of the track, but the race is carrying on.
Yeah, there's a little bit of bumping and barging as people were just trying to find their place in the field. And Costa, who's one of the fastest women in this race, was a bit of a victim of all of that. Such a shame to see her go out.
Yes. Mayer at the front, though. Likovska. Courtney-Bryant moving up into a good position. And Sarah Healy, of course. Well, the Irish, they're looking for medals later on in the pentathlon from Kate O'Connor. Maybe Sarah Healy can deliver one a bit quicker. And it's looking as though the pace is picking up here. We've got 8 laps to go.
Yes, the fielders start to string out a little bit, and it's good to see Melissa Courtney-Bryant and Sarah Healy in that leading 4 or 5 there. Again, 2 of the favourites, both with fast times this season, 8:28 and 8:30 respectively, in the big meeting in at New Balance in Boston earlier this winter.
Well, Afonso, she got a silver medal in the 1,500 metres earlier in these championships, so she's got a couple of races in her legs. Do you think she can be a factor? Because we know that she's got a quick finish. She's a little bit far back at the moment, and the pace is starting to crank up. Is that 1,500 metres going to tell, or will she be able to use that quick finish?
Well, she's in a very good spot there because she's out of trouble. She's got a clean run should she wish to go further forward on the straights. And, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting last few laps of this race. And actually, as I say that, here she moves up onto the outside.
Well, And you don't even need a crystal ball. I'm very impressed about this. I'll have to ask you about a few things about football results and things like that. But let's get back to athletics. And it's Leah Mayer at the front. And she looks as though she's imperceptibly cranking up the pace as we come through 2 kilometres. 6:03.15, 5 laps to go. But they then started to Constantina back together again. We're just seeing the Spaniard go to the fore as well. Garcia. So it's Garcia, the Spaniard, gone to the front now, starting to pick up the pace, but everybody else is covering this move. It's quite bunched. Would you be worried at this stage with 4.5 laps to go?
Actually, very interestingly, I think Melissa Courtney-Bryant has moved into a very good spot there. I think when you've got 8 or 9 athletes fairly bunched like this with only 4 laps to go, it's a pretty tricky race to navigate. And Ines Fitzgerald, I think, getting slightly frustrated there and trying to move up on the outside.
Well, Ines Fitzgerald, we know, is a phenomenal talent, has won titles at European under-20 level over the cross-country, got close to the medals on the track at World under-20 level last summer. But Garcia looking good at the front, has to be said as well. Melissa Courtney-Bryant looking very relaxed. Sarah Healy coming up into 3rd place as well at the moment. Leah Mayer, that's leader in the middle stage of the race, starting to look a bit tired now. Afonso, her head bobbing away, one of the more slightly built runners in this race. We're starting to lose a few of the runners off the back. Lishovska, Madeleine, Rooms all starting to get detached from the main bunch. But it's still Garcia at the front. We're coming up 3.5 laps to go. 700 metres. Garcia now starting to really throw down the gauntlet to the rest of these runners, but it's looking as though it's a really good run from Melissa Courtney-Bryant. Courtney-Bryant, of course, cracking runner on all surfaces. 400 metres to go now.
Yes, at this point, I think it could be anybody's race here. You've got some fast finishers. You've got Garcia pushing it on from the front. Millie Courtney-Bryant and Sarah Healy hanging on in there. And the 2 other Brits, Ines Fitzgerald and Hannah Nuttall, still in that group.
So it's Garcia coming around the top bend for the penultimate time. The strain starting to show on the Spaniard's face. Courtney-Bryant still looking very composed indeed. So too Healy. It's Spain, Britain and Ireland. 1, 2, 3 at the bell. Maya's gone through a bad patch. She's now back in the mix, although she's badly boxed. Coming around the outside as well. Hannah Nuttall doing well at this stage. Nuttall still in contention for medal. Oh, Nuttall nearly tripping there as the pace starts to accelerate with 100 metres to go. Courtney-Bryant takes the lead, followed by Healy. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic battle coming off the bend. But Courtney-Bryant has got the inside lane. Healy, though, getting round her. Healy's going to take gold. That's Ireland's first ever women's gold medal in 55 years of these championships. Well, Sarah Healy has done what no other Irish woman has ever done. Not Sonia O'Sullivan, Katrina McKiernan and all those other great Irish women. She's taken a gold at these championships. 2nd place goes to Melissa Courtney-Bryant, and Salome Afonso comes through for 3rd to add to her 1,500 metres silver.
And what a great race that was. Millie Courtney had said before the race she wanted to upgrade from a bronze previously, and she did that in style. For a moment there, we all thought she was going to get the gold, but Sarah Healy, just over those last few metres, was the strongest athlete. A fabulous race to watch and a good result for both Ireland and Great Britain there.
Well, it was a 2:50 last kilometre. Tim Hutchings doing grand work, passing me notes as the race is going along. Here's the closing stages of that race. And Garcia, you've got to give some credit to Garcia. She did all the hard work over that final kilometre. But unfortunately, she just presented an open door to the likes of Melissa Courtney-Brown and then Sarah Healy to walk through. Afonso came from a long way back, but her 1,500 metre speed took her through to the podium once again. And Garcia just slips out of the medals, but just look at that finish. Healy, of course, great 1,500 metre credentials as well.
Yeah, I think that was the critical factor. Healy is a 3:57 1,500 metre runner, almost broken 2 minutes for 800. Melissa Courtney-Bryant maybe should have gone a little bit earlier, who knows. But Healy there, simply the quickest in what was, by the standards of these ladies, a slow, tactical race. And brilliant running from Healy. What a half hour for the Irish after that bronze in the 800 with Mark English. Boy.
Absolutely. And as I said, the first ever women's gold medal at these championships for Ireland. Well, the Irish have got a couple of gold medals in the past on the men's side, but Sarah Healy writes her name into Irish athletics history.
Fantastic bronze for Salome Alfonso too. She's broached new ground here.
Well, there's the results. Confirmation that gold does go to Ireland. Sarah Healy, 8:52.86. Just beating out Melissa Courtney-Bryant, the Briton, just 600ths in arrears. And Portugal's Salome Alfonso taking the bronze.
Hello, I'm Leonardo Fabri, and you must subscribe to the European Athletics channel because otherwise I'm gonna fight you.